Hey there. So in this video, we're going to complete our resistance foldable notes. So this is the foldable that we put together on notebook page 114. So this is going to be packet pages 96 and 97. So hopefully we've already put our foldable together. If you have not put this foldable together, please go ahead and pause this video, put your foldable together, and you can view the other video that's linked in the agenda to help you actually view how to see how to put the foldable together. Okay. So we're going to start here in the middle. We're going to fill out kind of the middle and then the top and then kind of the bottom part of the middle and then the very bottom. Okay, so don't get too confused. So we're going to start right here. We're going to define, right, a chemical, either natural or man-made, that kills a certain bacteria. So this is called an antibiotic. You've probably heard of antibiotics. You know, we go to the doctor, they can prescribe antibiotics, right, and they help make us better. So antibiotics kill bacteria. Antibiotics do not kill viruses, right? Because we know there's a difference between a bacteria and a virus. One bacteria, though, can get a mutation, right? A random DNA mutation that can make it resistant to that antibiotic. The bacteria can then pass this mutation on to its offspring, and then that mutation can become more common over time. So remember, when we talked about evolution, we talked about how a population can change over time. So in this example, we're talking about how bacteria can basically evolve to become resistant to an antibiotic. This can be very bad for people. You know, if we have a bacteria that's making a lot of people sick and we can no longer treat them with medicine, then we're going to have to figure out another way to try to help people because those bacteria have become resistant and, you know, they might get sicker, they might die. So this is becoming a very big problem for doctors and researchers in the medical field. And it's going to definitely have to be an issue that we try to solve here in the near future. So up at the top of our foldable, it says draw a comic to illustrate what you know about antibiotic resistance. So essentially what I did in my notebook is I drew 4, right, circles. In the first circle, I took kind of like a yellow highlighter and a blue highlighter, and I just, you know, filled it in. So this first circle represents, right, our body that's home to countless microbes. And some of these may be resistant to antibiotics. Because remember, we said there could be some number of bacteria that are just naturally resistant or develop a random mutation. So I've got, you know, 7 or 8 normal bacterium here, but then I have one bacterium that just happens to be naturally resistant to that antibiotic. So this is my first circle. And then my second circle, I only drew the blue biotic, the blue bacteria. And then I labeled it, right? Antibiotics kill the bacteria causing the infections as well as the good bacteria. So the only bacteria that survived was the bacteria that was resistant to that antibiotic, right? The yellow or the normal bacterium, they all died, right? They're kind of like grayed out, they're dead. So this is my first circle, right? This is what my normal, right, microbe would look like. Now I've taken an antibiotic. So the next stage, the antibiotic resistant bacteria are now able to grow and take over. So in my third circle here, I would just take my blue pen or my blue highlighter, and now all of the bacteria are blue, right? Remember, originally they were mostly yellow with just the one blue, but that one blue survived the antibiotics, and now all of the bacteria are antibiotic resistance. Some bacteria may give their antibiotic resistance to other bacteria. This is a unique form of asexual reproduction known as conjugation. So we now have bacteria inside of our body that is resistant to that antibiotic. Okay, back to the middle of our foldable. Let's talk about pesticides. So a pesticide is a chemical that kills certain bugs and insects. And that, like ending part of our word, cide, that means to kill. So pesticide, we're killing pests. In this case, you have certain bugs and insects. So again, a bug, right, can be born with a random mutation that makes it resistant to a pesticide. Its offspring can inherit this trait too, and over time, that trait, right, that pesticide-resistant trait will become more common in the bug population over time. So just like with the antibiotic-resistant trait in the bacteria that caused the bacteria population to evolve antibiotic resistance, insects can also evolve to be resistant to different pesticides. So let's take a look at an illustration of how pesticide resistance would happen. So in my notebook, I drew 5 circles and like this. So we start here with the initial population. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 bugs. And 9 of those bugs are black and 2 of them are red. So the black bugs, they are susceptible, meaning they could be killed by the pesticide. And the red bugs are resistant, right? So they will not be killed by the pesticide. So it looks like most of our population of bugs are susceptible, meaning if I spray my pesticide, they will die. So I'm going to spray my pesticide, and I see that I killed most of the bugs, right? But a few of the susceptible bugs, they survived. So I probably didn't spray very well. But my 2 resistant bugs, they survived as well. And I know they survived because they are resistant to the pesticide, right? They're basically immune. So these bugs are going to reproduce. So now I've got a full population again. But if we compare the initial population with basically generation 2, I notice here that there are more of the red beetles, right? The red beetles are the ones that are resistant to the pesticide. So I went from having only a very small percentage of my population resistant to the pesticide to having, looks to be about maybe a 50% of my population being resistant to the pesticide. So it's time to spray again because I noticed a bug in my house. And I did not kill as many as before, right? It seems that most, if not all, of the resistant bugs survived. And again, even one of the susceptible bugs happened to make it through the spray. They're going to reproduce again. And now here in this third generation, 100% of my bug population is now resistant to that pesticide. So all of the offspring here in this last generation inherited that gene that causes them to be resistant to the pesticide. So it started out as just a random mutation, but because it was a successful mutation, right, it got passed on to the next generation. And so now we can see the evolution of this bug population to be pesticide resistant. So that's it for our notes on antibiotic resistance and pesticide resistance. If you have any questions or concerns about these notes, please make sure to let me know. Thanks.